Hello and welcome to a brand new series of videos with me, the CraftyGamer. Now, I'm going to be doing videos related to simulator games. I have quite a large collection of simulator games, and you're going to see things like Flight Simulator, Truck Simulator, all sorts of other games I've got planned up. Now, I decided to go a game that would give me some small missions, a bit of a challenge, and, you know, just a general introduction to what we're trying to do here on the channel. So I'm introducing to you Atlantic Fleet. Atlantic Fleet is a World War II ship-based strategy game. It is a turn-based game as well. You don't get many turn-based games nowadays. So it has a little bit of difference over the normal strategy-style games for World War II. So here we've got the starting screen. Now the training missions are, well, they're just training missions. They just show you what the game is like. We also have a single battle, which is a boatload, pun intended, of single missions for us to play over. There is also a campaign, which is slightly different, a bit more detailed, Battle of the Atlantic, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to jump straight into single battle. Now here we are, we have 19 missions for us to take over and try and play through. All of them various different parts of the world on various different famous battles. So yeah, so let's jump straight into mission number 1, Sinking the Courageous. On the 17th of September 1939, while on anti-submarine patrol in the western approaches, HMS Courageous is spotted and stalked by the U-29. Now the historical outcome of this fight was that the Courageous was actually sunk, which resulted in the withdrawal of carriers from anti-submarine patrols. So obviously, we will lose this mission if the Courageous is sunk. So on the next screen, we have the information for our fight, our little battle. So it's going to take place, like I said, on the 17th of September 1939. World War II has literally just been declared. On the Allied forces, we have the Courageous, obviously the aircraft carrier Courageous, and we have 2 destroyers, the Impulsive and the Ivanhoe. On the German side, we have the U-29. Now, the Germans will be played by the computer, and we shall be playing the Royal Navy. So let's dive straight into the very first fight. Now, in this fight, we obviously have 3 ships. This is the carrier. There is one of our destroyers, and there is the other destroyer. Now, you will take turn, or should I say each ship has a turn to move and a turn to fight. And once those turns are used up, it is the next ships in the line to have its turn to move and turn to fight. And it will result in, basically, we have 3 turns each. So we have the carrier who has 1 turn, the destroyers all have 1 turn, resulting in manoeuvre and fire, and the U-boat, which is somewhere out there, also has a turn for manoeuvre and a turn to fight. The bottom left-hand here screen has your speed setting and your turn to port or starboard, which is 30 degrees either way. We then have some weapons, which is nigh on useless with a carrier. We don't actually have any aircraft, for some unknown reason. So at the moment we have the move turn, so we're going to move the carrier away from the suspected area of the submarine. So if we bring up the map, which I think is that? Yes. Right, so here is Courageous, our 2 destroyers, and the suspected area where U-29 is, well, lurking. So we're kind of thinking, if we turn the carrier out and send her off that way, she will then try and outrun the submarine. Destroyers will try and run in close and force the U-boat to dive deep. And if it dives deep, it cannot fire its torpedoes and it cannot move very quickly, allowing Courageous to get out of the way. What we do have to be worried about is the fact of these torpedoes that will come from U-29. She will fire a salvo of them and they hit and they will sink the destroyer. 1 torpedo on a destroyer will sink it. I'm not sure about Courageous, but it will cause damage at least. So let's go straight back. We're going to do 30 degrees starboard. We're going to keep it a flank actually. And now we have the turn which would have been to fire weapons. Obviously, like I say, the aircraft carrier doesn't have any weapons. So we're just going to click done. And here we are, now we're taking over the destroyer Impulsive. The Impulsive sonar operators have picked up the rough area of the U-boat. The U-boat is saying the sonar report is contact bearing 5.5 degrees at periscope depth. So if we actually zoom in, you can see this very well, but there is a little bit of water spray coming up from the periscope. So the U-boat is observing the carrier. So we're going to run up to flank speed, and we're going to keep on a straight on course. We don't want to go into the front end of the U-boat. So moving. And now we have our weapons. And each destroyer should be the same, because of the same class, I do believe. We have 4.7-inch armor-piercing shells, 4.7-inch high-explosive shells, torpedoes, of which we're not carrying any, and depth charges. Now, the only weapons that will actually have any effect that I know of on a U-boat is the depth charges, and they run off the back of the destroyer. So we have to send this destroyer over the top of the U-boat to actually cause any damage. So we have to get in really close. But what I'm going to do, I don't know whether this works, but I'm going to try and fire our main guns at the periscope. If we can get the submarine to dive deep, she can't observe where Courageous is, and certainly can't launch any torpedoes. So we're going to switch to armor-piercing shells, and we are going to, you see these little meters now change. These are our weapons, and which way they're heading, pointing, and what our elevation is. So this is all guesswork at the moment, because I literally know nothing of where this U-boat is other than the periscope. And all I have at the moment, I do believe, is the two forward guns, which are these two here. We do we have one smaller gun? Yes, we have a rear-mounted gun here. Torpedoes, obviously, we don't have any, and the depth charges are running off the back here. So all we're doing at the moment is the two forward 4.7-inch guns. So we're going to line up our guns with the periscope area that it's in, and we're going to give them a little bit of elevation, and I'm just going to take a pot shot, literally a pot shot with this, because we have no information on where this destroyer is in relation to where our shells are going to land. So, fire one. As you can see, the submarine's here. Our shells fell pretty far short. So, now we're moving on to the Ivanhoe, who has the same choices. So we're going to run her up to flank speed. And we're just going to slightly move her over to starboard. And again, 4.7-inch armor-piercing, high explosives, no torpedoes, and depth charges. That's all we have. So we're going to swing her guns over the other way. I don't know whether this is going to get the... It is going to get the rear-mounted gun. You can actually see now that our two forward guns have swung over to face the U-boat, and so is our rear-mounted. So now we've got three guns firing on the U-boat. So we've got a little bit more elevation to this one. This batch of shells. And the Ivanhoe is going to open up. Four guns, and still way short of the U-boat. So now the U-boat has moved. She hasn't fired torpedoes. Carry on 30 degrees starboard, running up to flank speed for the Courageous. Going to slightly move to port for the Impulsive maneuver, allowing us to open up with all our batteries. Put them over the suspected target area, and we're going to add quite a bit here of elevation. And we're ready to shoot. And they went way... Oh no, not that far off. If I was in that U-boat, I would be getting a little bit antsy at the moment. Slightly bring her into port. And slight maneuver. We dial our guns in. And we're going to fire. Certainly getting closer. Unfortunately, the U-boat is getting closer to the Courageous, so 30 degrees to starboard, still running at flank speed. Now my intentions obviously are to sink the U-29. And as you can see, at the moment we have our 2 destroyers and they are heading either side of the U-29. U-29 is heading straight in between us. Now the idea is I'm going to send our destroyers close enough to fire at her with their main guns, and then they're going to peel in and run a depth charge attack over the top of her. Now watch all of that not happen. So flank speed, still keeping the straight line course. And now the impulsive is ready to fire. Swinging her guns over to the suspected area. I can't remember if I was short or... Oh, we're just going to fire anyway. Massively over the top. Right, okay. Slightly move the Ivanhoe into port. So contact bearing 320.4 degrees, we're still running at periscope depth. And unfortunately at that time 2 guns were able to fire. So certainly making it life uncomfortable for the crew of the U-boat. Which things will get a lot worse when our destroyers get close enough to use depth charges. So the carrier has still done a 30-degree turn to evade the U-boat. We're trying to open up the range from the U-boat. Moving on to impulsive, now we're going to start trying to turn her into starboard. U-boat's torpedoes obviously will only fire at the front. I think she does have aft torpedoes, but I don't know whether they're modelled in the game. But if we attack from the side, there's nothing the U-boat can do really. So moving over to starboard, still running at flank speed. Bring our guns down to about there. Swing them over towards the periscope. And just a little bit above. So now we're going to do the same to port with the Ivanhoe. Still running at flank speed. Now we've got to be careful now because the Ivanhoe may become a target. U-boats normally wouldn't actually attack a destroyer, it's just not worth it. They can't move that quickly compared to a destroyer, and they certainly can't manoeuvre, but in this game, anything's possible. So I can just get these lined up. I don't know really what I'm trying, because I don't think any of these shells have actually come close. That is very much on top of the U-boat. Torpedoes have been fired at the destroyer. I think they're firing at the destroyer. So the U-boat is somewhere over there, so let's turn 30 degrees to port again. I want to present the smallest target possible, which is quite impossible for an aircraft carrier to do, but anyhow. Still moving over to starboard. Sonar contact 9 degrees periscope depth. Might have turned a little bit too much there, but we're not going to fire because there's no real need now. We haven't hit him anyway. So moving over to the turn of the Ivanhoe. Now we've got to be careful because the Ivanhoe may be a target at the moment, so we're going to turn her to starboard. Still running at flank speed. Can't see the torpedoes at the moment, so who knows where they're going. Again, stop firing. Torpedo went aft, just went after the destroyer, and as you can see, U-29 has sunk the impulsive. Looks like they fired 2 salvos. So now it's time to port with the Courageous. We're going to swing her over to 30 degrees to the port, still running flank speed. We need to get this destroyer in close. Is going to move in a straight line course. I'm going to give the submarine a little bit of a chance. and then start manoeuvring again. Moving over to port for the Ivanhoe, still same, running at flank speed. This might be a bit of a problem because now I'm at the front of the destroyer, and yes, torpedoes have been fired again. Actually, we're going to move 30 degrees to port for the carrier. Try and change her position. If the ship zigzags, it's very unlikely she's going to be hit by a torpedo. Back to the carrier, and we'll keep moving in a straight line course, trying to open up as much distance as we possibly can. Swinging the Ivanhoe over 30 degrees, and we're going to drop our speed down to full and try and bring ourselves around. Target is still at periscope depth. And the U-29 has dived. Don't think she can fire torpedoes now, and the manoeuvring speed has dropped down drastically. So let's try and open up with the Courageous. Try and open up as much distance as we can now. This is what we wanted. Now move to 1/3 ahead, and we're going to bring around. Starting to get there. Target heading, contact is 329.8 degrees, and she's shallow, but not at periscope depth. Courageous is sailing away as best she can. Still keep at 1/3. And we are getting very close now to launching an attack from the Ivanhoe. Just not yet. Now with the depth charges will roll off the back or the aft section of the destroyer. Courageous is still sailing in a straight line, but she's getting out of the battle area. Still 1/3 ahead, still turning. I'm going to start rolling the depth charges off. So selecting depth charges, and we're opening up. U-29 felt like it couldn't really cope with much more of that, and she's actually ran away. Basically, also the carrier has opened up enough distance for this match to be over, so technically we have won. Unfortunately, it didn't do much good for our destroyer here, who got sunk, but Ivanhoe survived, and more importantly, so did the Courageous. So the Impulsive was sunk. Courageous, our mission, she survived. Ivanhoe did drop some depth charges, and no contact, no kill. U-29, like I say, did survive. So yes, that's the end of Mission 1 in Atlantic Fleet. Obviously this goes back to the normal match. Right, we could do this all over again. However, like I say, this video was just for showing off the first mission. So yes, on the next video you will see us doing the second mission. And then hopefully, like I say, we're going to go through as many of these as we can. If you've enjoyed this video, please let me know. If you have any information or any ideas on how I can better these videos, please feel free to put them in the post below the the YouTube video. I do have a Facebook page that's been created, so they'll be on there as well. So yeah, this has been Atlantic Fleet even. And I'm the CraftyGamer, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So stay safe, and we'll see you next time on another World War II base game.